mic on? Okay.
Welcome back to the line. Y'all having a good time?
Hello. It's a little switch right there on the hello. Just push that switch up right there. Turn your mic on.
Hey, baby.
There we go.
Talk nice to it.
I think I speak for everybody here when I say what a thrill it is to have all three of you here with us. It's such an honor to have you here. And Dallas, well, thank you. We love you guys, and it's really great. Now, the thing that I want to say to everybody here, just in case anybody's curious, watching you guys talk to one another, it's very obvious you all really do like each other, and that's very nice to see. Because that's not always the case when you see people that work on shows together like that.
No, we've heard that, but we get along great. We love it. We tolerate. Some of us tolerate. No, we love each other. We always have since the moment we met, and I think that was evident when you saw the show that these were not just people shoved in a car, or people shoved in front of a camera together. We have
a relationship.
Yeah. Yes.
Not
like the Brady Bunch, not like what you're thinking.
When you guys originally did screen test for the show, did you immediately kind of find a rapport with one another, or is that something that just kind of came naturally over the course of shooting episodes?
Yes.
It's a little more than that. John was a little kid when he started the show, and
He was as big as he is now. He's full.
Just not as old.
He's not as old, but he is really adorable. Anyhow, I got talked into going to the interview. My girlfriend, who I just done a play with, said, "What are you going to do after we had this celebratory lunch with this play that we done?" And I said, "Well, I'm not going to do anything. Let's go shop." And she said, "Well, no, I have to go to French class." I said, "You do?" I said, "Oh gosh." I said, "I'm supposed to go for an interview with this show, Dukes of Hazzard, but they're looking for a blonde. They want Billy Carton, and they're looking for a deer. Somebody just, I don't know why I'm going out on it. I'm not going." She goes, "Go. You never know who you're going to meet on the way in or the way out. Just go to the interview. Who cares if you don't get the role?" And okay, you're right. I'll go to Warner Brothers. So this little guy is, well, this big guy. This is the first person I met when I walked in the office. John Schneider.
And what a delight it was to meet you.
He was so cute.
It was.
And I walked in and I had fun with Guy Waldron, the guy that created the show. I had a really good time. And when I walked out, there was John Schneider. And so I said, "Hey, why are you still here?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't have a car. I'm here from Atlanta, Georgia." And
This is sounding less and less innocent.
And so I said, "Well, I don't even think you were 18. Come on."
I was 18.
Oh.
I was 1978. I was born in 1960. I was 18 and you were?
Shut up.
Guess what? Shut up!
So I said, "Come on, you haven't seen the town. I'm taking you on the town. I'll take you on a tour." So I took them all through Beverly Hills, all the places everybody likes to go when they're not from Los Angeles. And I took them. I would have taken them shopping, but did I take you shopping?
I couldn't believe how much things cost there.
Yeah, you still can.
I still can. I still can. This is a Q&A, right? So there's got to be some Q.
So anyhow, that's how long I've known John, and we became the greatest of friends.
Short
That
story
day,
long.
that afternoon. Did you like that story?
Let me answer the question. That's a good question. I think I remember the question. But in those days, they actually they went through great pains to cast chemistry. They didn't just cast people. Chemistry. No, Tom, it was the 70s, but we're not talking about that kind of chemistry. We're talking about...
The original bromance, right here.
That's right.
Yeah.
I had a guitar, that's why he
I had a guitar, so I loved him right away. But yeah, they cast chemistry because they wanted to see which people had what we have together, and it stopped.
I wanted to try and get rid of it. No, the thing was, we did I remember, well, you've seen the screen test. You wanted to show me the first week we were shooting.
Some other time.
I was busy at the time. But it's interesting. It was a lot of fun. And actually, when I first read the script, I read for John's part. But they decided I was too smart for that part. So
you get to know Tom and I, the more you realize we were miscast. Good eye. Does anyone have a question?
Yeah,
Please.
we're going to take some audience questions. I just want to ask real quick, when was the moment when you guys first realized that this was becoming a huge thing?
Right after it started showing. Yeah, it was immediately in the top 20. Immediate. It was frightening.
And that was our 37th anniversary was just last month, 28th, 29th of January. And we were top 20. She's just bragging because she has a phone. Yeah, we were immediately in the top 20, and then I think the second week we were in the top 10, and then we were not out of the top 10 until Coin and Pants came along. And then there were 65 shows, and I think Dukes was 66. Are we interrupting your social life?
That was my daughter, Laura.
Oh, okay. So we were a force to reckon with right away, and it was cool. It was really, really cool. And there were only 3 networks then, by the way.
That's right. But I didn't know that it was like such a
3
hit.
networks.
I just knew that we were having so much fun and I didn't want it to end because we were pretty isolated in Georgia and
Right.
now we're outside of Atlanta and but it was so much fun and it was just great working with everybody. When we came back to LA and people started treating us differently than they did before we got the show, that's when we kind of knew things had changed.
I blinked.
All right, well, I think we've got a lot of questions lined up, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start here, we'll go over here, so we'll bounce back and forth. We'll start with you.
So with the Dukes of Hazzard being like a positive show that resonated with so many people, how do you guys feel now about the whole controversy with the Confederate flag and the
Wow, that didn't take long, did it?
well, the shows being pulled off the air, the merchandise being, not allowed to be sold in a lot of stores, when, the show was such a positive show, so how do you guys feel about that?
We've been signing merchandise all day long, buddy. You want merchandise, you can find it. You want to see the show, you can find it. It's still out there. It'll come back on broadcast television again. But, I look at it like it's collateral damage. That guy down there, he had nothing to do with us. Unfortunately, the flag thing became a big cause celeb for a lot of people. And I understand both sides of that question about the flag. There's a lot of people from the South who look at that part of their history as, something they were proud of. That they actually stood for something themselves, and it wasn't really about slavery. A lot of it wasn't. So, and the other side of it, the people that hate that flag, I understand that too, because it ruined a lot of people's lives. But it had nothing to do with the Dukes of Hazzard. Unfortunately, that guy and his insanity, took viewing pleasure away from millions of people. So it's unfortunate, but this too shall pass.
Yes. Right here. Who did Wonder Woman call upon? Anybody?
What?
Who did Wonder Woman call upon all the time?
Oh, and Luke?
Not Linda Carter. Who did Wonder Woman call upon in the show? Who? Oh, somebody knows.
Oh, you got an answer? Do you not have the answer?
Are you going to give us a
ask?
prize?
Why
for
am
the
I asking?
answer?
Oh, Almighty ISIS. So I'm wondering why. Yeah, why?
That's a good point, John.
Why is Wonder Woman not banned from the airways? Maybe they're not. She's just not on. But I mean, and as silly as that sounds, to me, it's kind of the same. It's the same thing, because the intent. If the flag on top of the General Lee had anything whatsoever to do with hate, it certainly had nothing to do with the Dukes of Hazzard, and it certainly had nothing to do with everybody. I mean, let's admit this. Uncle Jesse is everybody in this room's Uncle Jesse. And if there was a tiny bit of hate on that flag, he would have not only taken it off, but he would have beat us with a stick. Right?
As he often did.
As he often did. So, that is my question about, as silly as it sounds, that's my question about.
Well, I just think that Hollywood has been defaming the Confederate flag for years and years and years. That they've been using it as a scapegoat for 20 years. And Selma and that movie, all the bad guys had the Confederate flag. And so this is a battle that was fought and a war that was lost a long time ago, unfortunately. And nobody really did anything about it, and so we're in this predicament, and yet I mean, I think we all have to realize that, of course, that flag doesn't embody all those problems, and I feel bad for those people that were so horribly affected and I can't even talk about it. But anyhow, I think that's the problem. Hollywood's been using that flag as a scapegoat for a long, long time, and if anything, we need to turn that around.
Can't we all just watch TV?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go right here.
Wow, you're standing right where we can't look, so forgive us. There's nothing wrong with you, we just can't see you unless we do this.
Turn it on.
Test, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is a two-parter. By the way, awesome show. I love you guys. But most of all, I'm a car person, so generally is an awesome muscle car, fast car. I love my cars. First question is, how many cars did you have on set? How many did you crash on set? And another question is, do y'all have one personally at your houses right now?
No.
No.
I have one in storage.
I no longer have one. I don't have one anymore. I had one for a long time. Used to make them.
John
That's why I
had
have
to
one
leave
because
fast.
you sold kids. So I had to get one for, charity and community and stuff like
It's
that.
a great tool to use for giving people rides for charity and things. It's
Yeah.
terrific to have. I may have another one somewhere down the road, but currently I don't have one. And my educated guess, we did 158 shows. We had 2 cars, at least 2 General Lees, totaled, gone, drag them away, flat tires for every show. So 158 times 2 is what?
316.
316, and then let's have a little margin for error, so at least 320, if not 329. Let's go with 329. There were 329
Close enough.
jokes.
They usually had 4 or 5 of them sitting around on the set. We had one that we used
Especially when Tom was driving.
for the really, for the really nice shots where you saw a lot of the car. We were sitting there, or we were driving in and taking off. They had what they call a picture car, which we weren't supposed to drive dangerously. But
Yeah,
which every
sure.
now and then got scuffed up a little bit, but mostly. There was usually 4 or 5 of them. There was actually another unit too. While we were shooting the principal characters and doing what little scene work there was, the second unit was shooting a lot of the action stuff. And some of our favorite days were when they would send us to second unit for half the day. That was always fun.
It was fun. We'd go to second unit, and the stuntmen would have wives or girlfriends or whatever out there, and they would introduce Tom and I and Catherine as the folks that did all their dialogue.
All right, let's go right over here.
Hey, everyone. I have a little congratulations for the original Daisy Duke, Catherine. Tom, I want to say thank you very much for being the governor. Don't you remember Smallville?
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm going to John next.
I was scandalized, man.
And rightfully so.
I think it was something involving
Y'all are all the good
Folded
old boys and
$5
girls,
bill.
but
What's that, sir? I'm sorry.
No, y'all are all the good old boys and girls, but I'm glad you were perfectly cast for Jonathan Kidd.
Thank you.
And I hope
Superman's back.
y'all have a reunite with Tom Welling.
I'm sorry, say that
I
one more
hope
time.
you have a good reunite with Tom Welling, hopefully in the future.
I think it would be great. I think it would be fantastic.
I've heard he's a great guy.
He is a great guy. It was terrific working with him, especially since I think he had done 2 or 3 episodes of the Gilmore Girls before he did Smallville. So he was anxious to see what it was, or to learn what it was going to be like. Very much like I was when I met Denver Kyle for the first time. Honestly, it was a great experience. And then he went on and did 10 years of Smallville, and he was a hard working guy. I'm not sure where Tom is now. I haven't seen him in quite a while. But not this time.
Movie with Dare John written by, that's part of
Nicholas Sparks film, yeah.
Yeah, but John, I'm just saying you were perfectly cast for John.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, in the beginning of that show, people said I was too strict. Let the boy play football. I said, no. It was great. People.
John, did you do it? What are you
I know. Well, people were having very serious conversations with me about my parenting skills on a television show about Superman as a child.
I hope I can
Yes, the General Lee went flying, there was only one car, but Superman is a character. Sorry. Thank you. Let's go right here.
Well, I'm extremely tempted
Well,
to ask y'all to sing the opening theme song of the Dukes of Hazzard, but maybe we can do that later.
Only if you all sing along.
Absolutely.
Making their way, the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law would allow. Sing, just a good old boy. We'll change for good. Fight the system like two, we wanna get Robin Hood.
I was going to ask,
I was asked to sing that song. Thank goodness.
so Mr. Schneider, when you, there was a scene in Smallville, you were in a pickup truck, and...
That wasn't my fault.
Okay. You were, she's telling my buddy, there's a scene you're fishtailing, and you open the door and you yell out at a woman who's crossing the road. I guess Jonathan was on Red Kryptonite or something. But
No, that was the Nicodemus plant.
yes, thank you. So how often do you do your own stunts? So can you tell us a little bit about kind of what gave you the bug to do all the stunts that you did? And
Well, oddly enough, I do them a lot. Anytime I'm behind the wheel of something in a movie or a television show, I for some reason I have to convince the stunt coordinator that I should do this. And it's like, and I said, why? I said, I've been doing this longer than you've been changing your own underwear. Why in the world would you think I can't do this? Oh, well, we do. So I did that. So I did that on Smallville and opened the door, and Welling was just, he loved that I opened the door, because I'm sliding around the corner as I'm opening the door, yelling at him. And when I came up to the accident, there was an accident in the beginning of that where I got sprayed by the Nicodemus flower. I know. I threw the truck sideways and got out just before the truck stopped. I mean, I was already coming out of the door because someone was in trouble, and that's how Jonathan Kent approaches someone who needs help. So it was a lot of fun. But when we did the Auto Trader commercials, if you watch the behind the scenes stuff, it's fantastic. I don't know if that's still on YouTube or not. But there was a scene where supposed to throw the phone at the sign, and I guess somehow throwing the car sideways was part of it, and we did it 3 times, and each time the director wanted it to be a little bit more. And we're in the car, and I said, it's if I didn't wreck it the 3rd time, I'm sure as hell, pardon me, gonna wreck it the 4th time. I just know what happens, and that's kind of the rule, because you want to go a little further. And what did I do? I crashed. But bless his heart, in the special features, somebody's interviewing Tom right after it. And I'm like this, and Tom's going, it was not his fault. It was not his fault, because we already had the shot. And sadly, if you go back to any accidents in movies where people get hurt or sadly killed, it's usually not the first time or the second time. It's the 3rd time when somebody just wanted a little bit more. Yeah, let's just do it one more time. We already got it, but let's see if we get the 3rd time. And that's usually where disaster occurs. So when I do independent films, I'd say, okay, if the car is going to come up, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it once. I'm going to get it right. You better have the cameras rolling, because you're going to love this, but I'm not going to do it a 2nd time. And I'm kind of mean that way, but generally speaking, I get it on the first try.
Generally.
Don't be a hater, Tom.
love her. I'll pick her.
Go, go, go.
All right. You're gonna stop us.
All right. First of all, I'd like to say thanks for coming today.
You're welcome.
And I'm old enough to remember sitting there waiting all week for Dukes of Hazzard to come back on again. And
You sat there all week long?
I was always ready for the next one.
All right. Well,
I remember drooling over Daisy and.
you know what? That's a little too much information.
I'm sorry, Daisy, but I drooled over General Lee too.
That was the Sean William Scott bow there. Sorry. Yes, sir. You have a dessert.
Yes, I do have a question. John, taking nothing away from your acting. No, okay, let me finish up here.
Oh, just stay right there.
I'm sure you love
Oh,
it,
I'm
John.
gonna leave.
But the question is, I used to hear you on the radio, and I thought, man, this guy's really good. And I'm wondering why you're not just as famous as an actor as you are a musical singer. The other way around.
Well, I understand. Thank you.
'Cause you're
For
really
a lot of what you just said. Thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate that. I had done a lot of music when we were just ending Dukes on CBS. Actually, while we were doing Dukes, I did CBS had It's Now or Never and a bunch of stuff. And
Did you have 14 #1 record songs?
I had 4 #1 songs. I had 14 albums. 14 albums. And for those of you who don't know what an album is, it's called an LP, which is a long-playing record.
The old days.
Right, 33 1/3 was the speed. Not 78. That would be Tom's era. But
Wait for
I
it.
have a. Oh, it's coming. I know it's coming. I have a long history of cutting off my nose despite my face, which I think Tom and I can share that. But
Call me Nancy, Joe.
there was a time when I was doing that, and there was an agreement between myself and my record label that I did not feel they honored. So I basically picked up my toys out of the sandbox and left. And I still, I don't know why that's in me, but I do what I say I'm going to do. And if you don't, it will aggravate me. And if you don't more than once, it will really aggravate me, and I will certainly leave on the 3rd time. So that's what happened to the music career. Had I stayed, I think I probably would have made another 30, 40 albums, or whatever they call them now. Since then.
John.
So I appreciate them. I made this one with Wopat.
Christmas record. I have a limited supply at my table, and if I run out of the limited supply, I'll go back out to the rental car and get another limited supply. Come on back.
It's a great record. So I thank you for that. I miss the music, but I have a film studio in Louisiana, and really I'm an 8-year-old. Wow, thank you. I'm an 8-year-old who's really wanted to tell his stories for my entire life, and stop it. And now I'm doing that now, so I'll put some music into those movies, but really I've always thought of myself as a storyteller, not, and singing was part of that. But storyteller was, if you're going to put anything on a parking space, that's what I would want on it. So thanks for the question and for what you said. I appreciate that.
All right. The hood slide. How long did it take y'all to perfect that? And are there any memorable mishaps? Because I've tried that and it ain't easy.
Well, the first one was an accident, and it's actually in the trailer that begins every.
They're called opening credits.
Yeah, what do they call it a trailer?
No. No.
Oh, okay, I stand corrected.
You're seated.
Well, then you tell me.
No, you can call it a
But that's
trailer.
not all. That's all. It's in the opening credits.
Yeah, opening credits.
It was from Daisy's song, the second episode
In Atlanta,
in Atlanta.
you ran downhill. This man's a fast.
Ran down-
You just have to
I ran down the
slow.
hill and I was gonna plant my foot on the fender and jump over the hood, but when I planted my foot decided to go ahead. So I slid across the hood and I took about 4 inches of skin off my forearm here.
You can see it. He knocks the antenna, the radio antenna, off in that shot. Yeah, and then it
It was great. And so we had so much fun the first time, we kept doing it. It was a lot of fun. For one thing, just as far as making movies goes, for the two of us to stay in a shot when we're jumping into the car, instead of somebody having to run around the front, we just slide across the hood so we'd stay tighter together. It looked better.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. There were times when we'd get into the car for a fast getaway, and he would be sliding through the hood, or through his window, and I would be inside turning on the key, and his foot would hit the gas pedal and not drop it into drive.
Yeah, that was
It
great.
was really cool. And reverse 180s, he'd be looking back, and he'd say now, and I'd drop it from reverse down to drive again. It was so much fun. Yeah, we did a lot of stuff.
It was definitely a ballet.
Coordinated.
Yes.
Seamless.
He wouldn't spill his coffee. It was great.
Well, wait a minute.
He'd come sliding in, and we'd be all of us would be in the car. Wopat would be there with his coffee. Like that. Yeah, it was great. I would love some. Thank you.
All right, let's go right there.
I wish.
Just a reminder that it's not just guys that watch Dukes of Hazzard for the car. But when I did grow up, I remember seeing you guys on the front of the teen magazines, and I remember cutting out those little pictures and entering every contest. But now that you've matured in Hollywood,
That's a kind word for it.
and Hollywood's a tough place, what would you tell your younger self?
What would you tell your younger self?
Use it up, man.
Stay away from that one.
Stay away from those twins.
They were twins? Triplets. What a great question that is. We were, I was very fortunate in my relationship with Denver Pyle. I think we all were. I don't know how. I was 18, so Denver had talked to my mother on several occasions that basically he would spy on me for her. But I was steered clear of a lot of potential disasters by talking with Denver, which was great. So I think I would say.
Remember when he had you down on his boat?
Yes, I hid out on his
He
boat.
hit on Denver's boat. Denver knew where he was. He'd go, "Come on, Kathy Bebop, let's go have dinner, and we'll go down and see John."
Irma P.
Yeah, the Irma P.
His boat that had your bust, forgive me, on the front, right?
That's
It was
right. It was a copy of the one that's on the Californian boat.
Right. The one thing I would say is, John, listen to Denver's financial advice.
What about mine?
John, listen to Denver's financial And I tell you, I think Tom and I can agree on this one. We would say, just because someone's name is on the stationery of the single largest publicist in Los Angeles does not mean he chooses the right words for your press release.
Yeah. Well, we sued Warner Brothers for $25 million, and they sued us for $200 million. Yeah, it was exciting. It was a kind of a lost year, but I think we both grew up a lot during that. And one thing that people forget is that up to that point, two actors of a series had never gone on strike together.
I still don't think they have they?
I don't, probably not. Well, like some casts,
Oh,
for more
cast.
money, like Friends, the whole cast.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what
That's
this
not
was
fair.
about. So anyway, it was one of those things where that was probably not the best way we could have done what we did, but we did it, and John and I are still tight. We're best friends, and that doesn't happen. And Catherine, of course. She can't be in on all the boy talk.
No, nor do I want to be.
I don't get that Christmas basket from Warner Brothers anymore, though. Yeah, so that's I would give young John the advice of that there are that words are very, very important, and some words are fantastic, and some words can really be damaging. And I would change. You need to know that just in life, words can be very, very helpful. Innovative is a good word. Cheated is a bad word. Oversight is not a bad word. Clerical error is not a bad word. Cheated. Bad word. Can cost you $25 million. Easily. The word cheated. Please God, somebody else has to.
That's right.
All right. In all your driving sequences, how much were you allowed to do stunt driving? And between the two of you, who had the most crashes?
Well, John had the most crashes because he drove the most. But I had some pretty good ones. Ben Jones really was angry with me one day after we drove into a semi. Yeah, I hit a semi.
It was on his side, right?
We all pretty much met the dashboard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. But we didn't really crash him that much, not too bad. One of my favorites, though, is when we came back from our little strike and John went to the head of the Teamsters and said, can we take that picture car out, just to tool around the back lot a little bit?
We're going to practice.
Yeah,
Tommy
well,
Roberts?
he found the one real building on the back lot to run into. And we were both of us coming back to this guy, to this Teamster captain, and we're really sorry. We screwed up the car.
This is how crazy we were. I started driving the Jeep, and I said, John, I'm just not getting any traction. I don't know. I mean, it's just not fast enough, and it's just not. And he goes, okay, after work today, we're going to go out and we're going to ride that thing until we get it going as fast and make it look as fantastic as we can. And so I was looking forward to it all day, and around 3:30 or 4, John and I get in that Jeep and we go off-road. And we had that thing up on 2 wheels. I'm like, wait a minute, what are we doing?
It was fun.
Yeah.
I think also,
I mean, that's what we would do.
in case you people have Jeeps, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do it.
The Jeep is a real turner over. The Jeep is a roller, like a dog.
And I can even turn it over 3.5 times.
What?
Yeah. Oh, you know I did that in Minnie Thompson's off-road racing.
Yeah, but not in the show.
No, sure.
The most scared I ever was in the General Lee was when she was driving. She came and picked us up somewhere out on Disney Ranch, and we get into the back of the car, and she takes off, and I'm like, oh my God. That's where I started getting greedy.
How long we did the morning show in Mark and Brian, and they did a live. Mark and Brian was a big radio show in Los Angeles, and they got in the backseat of the General Lee. So it was Tom and Catherine and I, and it was crazy.
Are sitting in front, and they're in the back.
I said, hang on, I'm going to throw the car into McDonald's. I said, what? Don't worry, I'm just going to throw the car. And I did. I threw it to the drive, because the drive-through is designed so you have to go slow.
But we went sideways.
We went fast.
Sideways, right through.
We pulled up. They were looking at us.
And then we went in the street, sideways. Oh, I mean, you
We had
can
a
make the
great
car go
time.
sideways for so long.
But it's fun until you hit something.
Yeah.
And then
Your own car.
it's really fun. It's really fun.
Yo, who up?
All right, let's go right.
Hi, thank you so much. Oh, sorry.
No.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Like, you guys are definitely a very big part of my childhood, even though I wasn't around when the show first came out.
Most of these people were around.
But my question is, over the period of the show, was there a particular episode or scene or just a moment behind the scenes that was just something you would love to go back and relive?
The Ghost of General Lee is pretty much accepted as the pièce de résistance.
What about Carnival of Thrills?
No, that's the two-parter. That doesn't count.
Daisy's song,
No.
Me and Sorrel.
Ghost of General Lee.
Why Ghost of General Lee?
Because we were dead.
That's right. They
They
thought
thought
we were dead.
gone. Yeah.
It was our Tom Sawyer moment. We got to go to our own wake.
Yeah. That's right.
That wig in there is for you too.
And the general was white. Is that-
The generally, no, it was painted with some sort of glow in the dark.
Yeah, see.
Say it, Luke. Rascal. Interesting to me that nobody mentions that the General Lee was stolen in the Ghost of General Lee because Bo and Luke were out skinny dipping.
Skinny dipping. Together.
Just Bo and Luke.
Wow.
Sure is a beautiful day, Luke. What do you say we go skinny dipping? But nobody said anything about that. You know. It was a good show. I like Carnival of Thrills though because we had that big fight.
Oh, we did have a fight.
Yeah. And then you and Denver come out. And what does he say? That great line, them two are big enough to hurt each other. It was great. It was so much fun.
Didn't they sing the Star Spangled Banner?
No, that's in the boxing one.
And sang it. And
You sang it several times.
in this corner, too.
In this corner, little dude.
I love that show.
That guy beat the snot out of me, I'll tell you what.
He was the welterweight champion, right?
No, that was his son. He was the light heavyweight. Sonny Shields was his name. Randy was the son. He was a welterweight. He was ranked in the top 4 or 5 at that time.
Is that the one where we rode to the house? Which one did we ride up to the farm? We're both bareback on a horse, riding up to the Duke farm. And there was we had several places where the Duke farm was. This was, I'm not sure, no, it was the Beaudry farm, because there was a hill. So you saw Bo and Luke on the back of the horse, coming up over the hill, and it wasn't anybody on that. We both fell off the horse.
Yeah, and in the take, that's what you first see, is you see our heads coming up over the horizon. And then you see the bodies just falling off one side. It was hysterical.
I remember we had, you know who Mel Tillis?
And we're riding together on one horse.
But we have our clothes on. Remember we did, you know who Mel Tillis is? Oh yeah. Okay, Mel. He did an episode in Jimmy Best's wife. Were they married yet? Dorothy?
I don't think they were married
Honest
yet.
engagement, they were engaged for 15
Engaged for a long
years.
time. But he played a guy who owned a racehorse, and we wanted for some reason to race the General Lee against the racehorse in a quarter mile or something. But the director's name is Dick Motor, and he did not know anything about Mel. So his line is something about how the General Lee that car is never going to be able to beat Manassas. That car ain't never going to be able to beat
That horse.
And poor Dick Motor got so angry because he thought that Mel was just messing with him, because he knew he was a country singer. He knew he was a huge country singer. He didn't know that Mel stuttered, and he felt so bad. Remember, he felt so bad when he found out.
I know.
But I don't think
Dick
Mel
Motor
ever
was
got the
great.
word out, because it was like,
I remember that.
Dorothy played his daughter, and he said, Manassas. It's pretty funny. Okay.
Anyway, next.
All right, we got one time for one.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What did you think of the movie?
Didn't see it.
Didn't see it?
I figured going to see the movie would be like watching somebody date my ex-wife. Not a good plan.
Trust me, it was.
From what I've heard and the little bits and pieces I've seen, the car stuff looks pretty cool. I thought they made the Dukes out to be slackers, and which is not the intent of the original show at all. I mean, we didn't really have much of a means of support, other than Daisy's tip money. But we weren't playing it as slackers, you know. And I thought that they made the Dukes movie into pretty much, these guys are kind of nerdy.
There was a problem with the movie. They didn't exactly know the direction that they wanted to go in, and so what they decided to do was make it like a wild National Lampoon. Dukes of Hazzard meets National Lampoon, and Willie Nelson is a pothead, and Uncle Jesse's a pothead.
Wait, no, Willie Nelson is a pothead?
Newsflash!
And John Schneider's a lesbian who's after Daisy. Daisy kind of likes
Cooter was a lesbian?
Cooter's a lesbian in the original movie that I.
Oh, in the script, I read that, yeah.
Yeah.
Cooter, yes, that's right. Who's still in love with Daisy, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a hard one. So, and then when they realized that this was going to be the biggest flop there ever was, they sort of made it like a Dukes of Hazzard television show. You know, one of
They
the
basically
episodes.
made fun of it.
What's that?
They basically made fun of the show.
Oh, they did. I
They
don't know.
did, it was too bad, because
Yeah.
they could have made a lot of Dukes of Hazzard movies had they tried to stick to the spirit of the show. But they didn't for whatever reason, which is difficult to do. Because we did two movies, and one of them had us not realizing that it was a bad idea to build a fire under the Hollywood sign. And I remember we went to them and said, this is not the Beverly Hillbillies, we're not stupid. When we did
Well, they weren't either.
What?
The Beverly Hillbillies weren't stupid either.
No, I know, but it was a cement pond. They were the fish out of water in the big city.
There you go.
And whenever Bo and Luke or Daisy, whenever any of the Dukes went to the big city, it was our ability to shuck and jive country style that always made the city people look silly, even in the city, which I thought was wonderful. So all of a sudden, even our team forgot. They thought, oh, it'd be so funny to have Enos come and tell us, you can't camp here. Enos? Okay. So it is hard to stick true to the magic that's Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard was a magic show.
Weren't you barbecuing possum in the show too?
Yeah, I was barbecuing a possum or something like that.
But, in all fairness, in the original Dukes of Hazzard, they would catch rattlesnakes when we moved back to California and they'd barbecue them.
Yeah.
Anybody have barbecue rattlesnake in here?
It tastes like chicken.
I never did.
True. All right, we gotta get one more and then we'll wrap it up. Let's take this one here.
Uno más.
Hello?
Hello?
Is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your smile. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I just wanted to.
What are you hugging, ladies and gentlemen?
Whoa.
I believe I can fly.
Ask a question.
Yes, sir.
You got a question?
My question's for John.
Good.
John, you're on the show Smallville. Am I correct?
That is correct, sir. Open the pod doors, Hal. Was that your question?
No.
Okay. Because that was the easiest question of the day.
Easy question of the day.
I'm
sorry, I'll answer it.
Oh, boy.
Yes, I'm about to cut you off, man. Let's get a question out. Come on.
How did you get on the show?
How did I get on Smallville?
Yeah. How'd you get cast on the show?
The people who created it won the lottery, and I showed up.
That's the answer.
I did read for Smallville. I was not going to because I'm a little kid that liked the television show Superman, and I didn't think the world needed another incarnate of the Superman story. But someone said, yeah, I'm glad I did too. Someone said, you should read the pilot. You should read the script. And I did, and I thought it was one of the best scripts I'd ever read. And at that moment, and it was the moment where I read Jonathan hangs the keys to the truck that Lex Luthor gave to Clark on a nail. And Clark says, so you're saying that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree? And Jonathan says, no, I just want you to understand where the money came from that bought that truck. And there's so much parenting in a line like that, and so much parenting in allowing your 16-year-old son to make up his own mind about accepting a brand new truck on a farm in Kansas or not, that I thought this was probably not only a worthy incarnate of the Superman legend, but very likely the best one ever. And I think that Smallville is that. I think Smallville actually is the crown jewel in the Superman crown. I really do.
I don't know, who are you picking in the Spider-Man Superman here? Batman, I mean.
Is it the Batman, Spider-Man, Superman thing?
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Who are you talking about? Who's in it? Wonder Woman, you know who she, sorry.
I think Tom is asking, who would you bet your money on, Batman or Superman, to win?
Oh, Superman.
Yeah, Superman.
Absolutely.
Hey, dang.
I'm sorry, Superman is Superman.
That's why I call him Super. Have you guys had some fun this afternoon?
I appreciate it. We had a great time.
Yeah, come by and say hello.